Salutations, possums. I got Hombre Vendor, Mr. Billy Mansell in the studio today, and myself, Joe. Follow me, Opie Joe 2Es. We're going to talk some underdog stacks today and some just general news that's going on. So, I mean, let's break right into it. DK Metcalf got freaking paid today.
Paid, Joe.
Paid.
And while this is not going to be a great year for DK, as far as the quarterback situation is not good. Geno Smith, meh. But DK in general, this is just breathing room for him. He got the largest guaranteed signing bonus up front ever. So that is very important for him to, stash underneath the table. But yeah, DK Metcalf, no need to worry this year, bud. You're paid. Yeah. You got this.
Now we know Pete Carroll does not believe in a rebuild, and he's just plugging right along like he's not even in one. But what this does do solidifies a true alpha receiver for the Seahawks for the foreseeable future. So Geno Smith's the one taking first team reps right now. So
yeah, sad times. I mean, there's an opportunity maybe for them to trade for Jimmy G if they really want to try to make something happen here, but I don't know why Seattle would trade him there, or why San Francisco would trade him there. And at the same time, Seattle, if you're in a rebuild, Jimmy G's not really good for a rebuild. I think he is a competent quarterback that could actually help them win a little bit too many games this season.
Well, we've heard Carroll say they're not in a rebuild, so sign Jimmy G and just plow right on through it. You have two big names on defense, two on offense. Let's see what we can put together here. But no, good for him. He got his money. He definitely deserves it. And if they can lock him up with a true quarterback, that'll be awesome. But in fantasy, you can take the flyer right now that they're going to sign someone, but rolling with DK Metcalf as your wide receiver 1, which is, hopefully not what you're doing. Hopefully he's a wide receiver 2 for you, but it makes me nervous.
Risky. You know who this helps out the most, Joe? And that's Mr. Deebo Samuel in the Bay Area.
It does.
My man just saw the dollar signs pop in his eyes from what this contract did for DK Metcalf. Deebo Samuel should be approaching the 49ers with nothing less than that, by the way. So,
yeah, I just think the longer this goes on, the more the 49ers are just going to shoot themselves in the foot with the whole Deebo thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Use it or lose it, man. That's my motto.
Yeah, that's the truth.
But shit, how about this next one? We got a report that they took the independent study clause out of Kyler's contract.
All right, I have 1,000 thoughts about this.
I thought you did. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
There's a couple. We haven't really got to expand on this in the OP show because, with the vision previews, we've kind of had to just fly through the news, so we didn't really talk about Kyler Murray. But okay, so I just gonna break this down from a macro level, Joe.
Break it down.
Why would the Cardinals leak this out that they gave their franchise quarterback this gigantic contract, but then slip in there about this clause? Why initially would you do that? Why would you give him the trusted amount of money that they gave him, but then sneak in a little backhanded spot there at the end? Nobody else, we could have many contracts out there for plenty of quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, for example, could have don't eat ice cream sandwiches after 6 p.m. That could be in his contract. We would never hear about it. So why did we hear about this one minuscule part of Kyler Murray's contract, Joe? What do you think is going on there? Do
you think that was Cliff's agent just sliding that in there, saying hey, if the season falls apart, it's because Kyler didn't study. It's not the horrible coaching job.
I don't know, because I feel like it's the Cardinals at the same time. I feel like they put it in there. And this gets me to my other point about Kyler Murray is that I don't think they understand video games. If this was okay, Joe, if Kyler Murray spent as much time playing golf or one of these other kind of leisure activities like that, I don't think anybody would think a second thing about it. But the fact that he plays video games and streams on Twitch, I think old men don't really understand that a whole lot. I think that they're kind of a little biased against, that kind of leisure activity. He's not out there doing something that's going to physically hurt him. So I think they put that contract clause in there just to kind of I don't know, make it seem like he's not doing, the studying outside of the football field. But I think they just don't understand, the younger kids nowadays. Video games are kind of like playing golf. It's just an activity to get away from your job, basically.
Well, my job is golf, so I take that shit very
Well,
seriously.
okay, fair enough, Joe. You may be the wrong person to talk about that, that example with. But I don't think it's as big of a deal because, like, here's the thing: what if he doesn't study 4 hours a week? Are they going to void his contract? Are they serious? You don't think another team out there is going to give him some kind of big contract?
Yeah.
If I was Kyler, I'd be like, okay, I'll call your bluff. I'm going to study 3 hours and 54 minutes. What are you going to do? You going to fire me?
Well, the fascinating thing is we did have the rumor earlier this offseason that Marquise Brown was going to retire to game full time.
to be a professional gamer, content creator.
I think now that he's in the house in Arizona, they're like, we got to put the damper on this video game stuff or we're going to lose our quarterback here to some stupid stuff.
I guess so. I'm so confused why this got out. I know that like Adam Schefter just put on Twitter that they have done away with that addendum in the contract, but why put it in there anyway? Like in the first place, why was it in there?
It's like getting a promotion while you're under a performance review, which doesn't make sense to begin with. But
it's I don't know, man. I'm never really gonna fully understand what this was about, and just to put that on your quarterback who should be celebrating literally getting this contract, should be out there, like your entire fan base should just be doing cartwheels about how they now have a franchise quarterback locked up for the future. You've got your entire future planned, but now everybody on any like ESPN or wherever, all they're talking about is, okay, Kyler Murray's not focused on football. Like that's all that they're talking about. And the Cardinals did that, not Kyler Murray. It's not like Kyler Murray put that in there. So why they would do this to him, I'm really not sure. I know that all PR is good PR, but this is just really taking away from what is most people's and Kyler Murray's. This will probably be his biggest contract he ever signs.
Yeah.
And to take away from that with this addendum and that little piece of it, even though that it's gone now, but you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like everybody now thinks that he doesn't care about football at some level, at least. It's bizarre.
To return to your old man theory, they could have seen this as an opportunity to give him a kick in the ass to say, hey, this is what you have to do to really take the next step and produce for us. But I don't know, man. It's Kyler Murray. I'm not completely sold on him as a quarterback. I don't think anyone should be.
Me neither, but
they kind of had to pay him what they paid him because they have no other option here.
And that's another thing, Joe. Literally, they got rid of Josh Rosen. I mean, not like that was a bad call, but they did that and brought in Kyler Murray, first round pick, and then another first round pick. First time we'd ever seen that. And then to do this with the frame, it's just, I don't know, man. Do I think the Cardinals are a great organization? I really don't. I really thought Kyler Murray was going to just bounce after this year, and to see that organization did that to him makes that all the more like, Kyler, maybe you should have left, my man. Like, I get it, and I probably couldn't turn down that contract if it was $240 million staring me in the face, but I don't know, man. To be disrespected by your workplace immediately after you sign it, it's just really hard for me to be on board with that behavior.
Yeah, who knows, man? It's definitely something to monitor going forward because there's going to be more drama down the line here. This is kind of seeming to be like a Baker and Cleveland sort of situation here.
Weirdly, it doesn't even feel like it should be. Literally, Joe, they started out the season like 8-0, 9-0 last year.
Yeah.
And we considered them the best team in football at one point last season. Just for this to be the way that it's gone now is just really weird.
Either way, a lot of people getting paid. Debo's watching. Lamar Jackson's watching.
Lamar Jackson is on the hunt, I would assume.
He came out today and said there will definitely be a line drawn. He's not just going to go play like this. He's not getting paid. So yeah, that's definitely a situation to monitor here. And those agents are working overtime right now. So
1,000%. All right, Joe. We don't want to hijack why we're here. So
underdog stacks.
Yes,
guys, if you're not playing underdog, you need to be. I just did a draft the other day watching TV, and it's probably my favorite team I've drafted this year. So hopefully I get that milli or 2 milli, whatever it is at the end of the year in the puppy there.
Yes,
that one.
I 100% agree. I have at least one, I think I have 2 rosters in that puppy, so I'm hopeful.
Go get you one. Sign up. Use our code. It's on our link tree. You can get some good dollar matches there. So jumping into stacks in Underdog. Stacks are a great way to score extra points. They can really vault you above other teams for the week if everything falls correctly. Now, me personally, I do not like the high-end stacks in best ball. I see a lot of people doing it, the Mahomes, Kelseys, and all that stuff. I want my studs to operate independently of one another. We've seen weather, scheduling, and just general nonsense disrupt even the most high-powered offenses in the league here. So I like drafting my studs and then pairing them for the added bonus of a monster game that it could generate late in the draft. So without further ado, I'm going to start off with one of my favorites right now. It's Matty Stafford, who is going as quarterback 12 right now, 93 overall, and Allen Robinson, who is wide receiver 23, 48 overall in your drafts. I mean, we love Cooper Kupp, but we do realize that Allen Robinson is still only 28 years old. I hollered this on our podcast the other day, but he's still only 28 years old. He is in the prime of his career, and he's got a very studly quarterback. So Woods and OBJ accounted for 124 targets in this offense last year. Van Jefferson had 89. So let's just assume that he eats into Jefferson's targets a little bit. 140 plus targets for a player that finished 2019 and 2020 at wide receiver 8 and 9 respectively. He averaged 152 targets those 2 years in Chicago, playing with Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. Stafford threw for 41 touchdowns and almost 5,000 yards last year. That's second and third most respectively. This is a value match from the fantasy gods, Billy, and I am absolutely taking that this year.
I agree 100%. And then you can even back that up with what they're doing in training camp right now. It appears that they are quickly trying to get him, into the offense, and he is nailing every test they throw at him at training camp right now, given it's only been a couple of days. So, it is cool camp news-ish, but we heard the camp news of the Breakfast Club last year and we didn't really buy into it then. So now it's kind of like, we're having like a second thing happening here with Allen Robinson, and I'm going to have to buy in. I mean, literally what OBJ was to the end of last season for them. I think Allen Robinson is going to exceed that by a mile because first of all, in my opinion, Allen Robinson's a better receiver than Odell Beckham Jr. And
Absolutely.
For that one reason alone, I think that not only is he going to cut into Van Jefferson's share, but Cooper Kupp is not to sustainably do what Cooper Kupp did last season. It would be unheard of. So a couple of those targets to a trusted receiver like Allen Robinson is going to mean massive things for him. And to get him at wide receiver 23, I mean, it's a match made in heaven, Joe. Like you said.
It really is. I love it. I'm getting it everywhere. Guys, sidebar here. I just said it, but Allen Robinson is 28 years old. He was pissed off at the Bears last year. They disrespected him. That's why he had a down season. He's going off this year, so look for the services of Allen Robinson. If you're in Dynasty, you can probably buy him for cheaper than he deserves to be because people are so worried about his age because it feels like he's been in the league for 38 years. But he's only 28, so he wasn't even born then. That's all I got.
Yeah, fair enough. All
right. Moving along here, Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. Aaron Rodgers is QB 13 going at 106, and Aaron Jones is RB 9 going at 17 overall. The Pack definitely has one of the easier schedules. It is peppered with some monster opportunity games here. We have Buffalo, Tampa, Philly, and we know that there are 224 vacated targets from last season. Do we really think that Aaron Rodgers is going to trust Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Christian Watson with that type of workload? I don't think so. So Aaron Jones, in my opinion, has a case to finish RB1 this year. He had 65 targets last year, and I can see that number well over 100 this year. Jones was also 50th in the league last year with 13 red zone targets. Without Adams there, who had a whopping 31 red zone targets, we could see top 20 in red zone targets for Aaron Jones as the Pack tries to make do without their studly receivers. So, Billy, how do you feel about that one?
No, I agree. I agree completely. I think that Aaron Jones being there fills the void at wide receiver that they don't have currently. And I think that he and AJ Dillon are going to be on the field a lot more than people are given like the thought of right now. I think the thought people are having is like, is it Aaron Jones or is it what the hell? Excuse me. My dog's really excited about the Green Bay Packers this season. Anyway, if you have people are thinking it's either AJ Dillon or it's Aaron Jones, why not both? Like I think that you can see that a lot more used being both usable players every week this season. I think they're closer to like a Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb situation than they are like, either or. Like I think both of them are going to be usable this year, and I think Aaron Jones could easily break some types of receiving records for a running back because while Aaron Rodgers does trust Alan Lazard and their friendship is something that we all hope to have one day, I don't see that him being the wide receiver one for this entire season. Christian Watson is currently a little bit injured and banged up in training camp right now, so he's not even going to get a chance to really work with Aaron a whole lot. I just think this means Aaron Jones to the moon in the receiving category, and I think both Dillon, Jones, you can draft both and they can both play, and you will be completely fine this year. I think DFS, this is going to be a smart stack early in the season because one of them is going to be cheap or they're both going to be cheap, and I think you're going to be able to stack those two and make a lot of money.
You speak my language, Billy, because I have a note on my phone here for week 1 daily plays, and Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers are on that list. So
I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm going to strike it while the iron's cool and take advantage of that before those prices skyrocket. So my last one for you guys today, unless Billy's got somebody he wants to throw in, we got one. Brandon Cooks. What's up?
I just have one, but we'll get to it.
Okay. All right. So we got Brandon Cooks, who's currently going to wide receiver 25 and 53 overall, and pairing him with Davis Mills, which is QB 29, 203 overall. Is it a surprise to you guys that Houston is going to suck?
No.
My boy Lovie Smith will make them feisty, but that defense is not going to put up much of a fight there. Their secondary was dead last in the NFL last year, and they're going to run into a buzzsaw of high-powered offenses this year. That means garbage time, hero worship for yours truly. Cooks was wide receiver 16 last year, and Mills averaged 280 passing yards per game in 4 of his last 5 last year, so he finally hit his stride there. You could do far worse than snagging Mills in the 17th round to pair with Cooks. I love Cooks this year, so I'm telling everyone to draft him, and pairing him with his quarterback is not a bad idea in case one of those games just goes nuts there. But then, on top of all of this, we had the horrible news this week that John Mechie has the illness, and he's not going to play this season. So that puts even more on Brandon Cooks' plate. Now, we have Brevin Jordan there. We have Nico Collins. We got Dameon Pierce, Rex Burkhead. None of them are anywhere near the caliber of player that Brandon Cooks is. So he is a high-end wide receiver 2 for me in redraft and dynasty. I know he's up there. You can make a trade for him. But he is also on my week 1 daily fantasy plays. Get you some Brandon Cooks and pair him with Davis Mills.
I agree. I think the disrespect for Brandon Cooks has gone way too long, and it's continued this year apparently. So, yes, the Mechie news is sad, but honestly, that just leaves those targets that he was going to get, and he was going to get quite a few, open for Brandon Cooks. I mean, Brevin Jordan's going to take some targets away, sure, but outside of that, you're going to have a lot of weeks where there's going to be no-name wide receivers catching touchdowns you've never heard of. But the one consistent player on the team, and this is the one offensive player that you could trust, is Brandon Cooks. And I think that there's a lot of people sleeping on him because the Texans aren't going to be good this year. But honestly, we've seen in the past bad teams lead to fantasy points, and Cooks is going to be the guy that benefits from that. Maybe some other receiver will come out of nowhere on this team. But with Mechie not being there, who I thought was going to be solidify himself as the wide receiver 2 for Houston, I think it's kind of just a year, and Cooks is not trying to waste any time in his career, so he's not going to be taking it slowly.
I just want to throw something out there. You start off your draft with, let's call it Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift, Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks, and Dalton Schultz there. Ooh, that'd be a hell of a start to a team. Get your RB2 later. I love that one. So another sidebar here, Billy. Evie's a Packers fan now.
I didn't know that, but whenever we started talking about Green Bay, she really perked up. So,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know how I feel having a Packers fan in my house, but here we are. Didn't think that's how my life was going to go, but whatever.
Well,
That's
might be
fine.
fighting with your dog sometime, but
Well, I'll let her know that for
awesome.
sure. Can I throw out a bonus one that I
Let's
think
hear yours, man.
right now it's dirt cheap, but I think by the time training camp's over, it's not going to be dirt cheap anymore because it's kind of the best kept secret, and that's Jared Goff and DJ Chark. So Chark is really impressing the Lions staff in camp. He's been moving all over the field to start out with, which I think is a very good use for him. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be out there. Not going to have to worry about that. Amon-Ra is going to be out there in the slot. He's going to be doing his work there. TJ Hawkinson, tight end, still not going to be a deep threat or any kind of like deep crossing routes. That's all going to be Chark's territory. Jameson Williams is out for, I would think, at least 6 weeks, but I mean, that's just a cautious 6 weeks, I think. I think they're going to put him on the pup, and then we'll try it again. And I think it's only 4 weeks for the pup this year, but I can see it going into November by the time we maybe see Jameson Williams come back. But for the start, I think Chark is the guy. So Chark is going 153 overall, wide receiver 70. So basically free for all intents and purposes. And then Goff is going as quarterback 26, 189 overall. So let's just go through the weapons for the Lions. I kind of did this on our Lions podcast, but I just feel like we need to go over it one more time. So Jared Goff has TJ Hawkinson, DJ Chark, Swift, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then he's going to get Jameson Williams back. What am I missing about this pass-catching core that everybody else seems to be so down about? Because Jared Goff
absolutely insane.
Is not a bad quarterback. I know that he wasn't what Sean McVay thought he was going to be for the Rams. Like, I get that he didn't get to that level, but a little disrespectful, right? He's not even a super flex starter right now for some people. So I just think that's kind of ridiculous. And I think the season, DJ Chark, is going to be a guy that's very heavily used in this offense all over the field. And this is a dirt cheap combo that you can put on any of your underdog teams. And when we get to DFS, believe me, I will be stashing him in quite a few lineups.
Dude, I absolutely love that. Jared Goff, he put up points, man. He was never a bad point quarterback in fantasy. And you're right. You can make an argument they have one of the best weapons groups in the league very easily, especially when Jameson Williams comes back, because I thought he was my favorite wide receiver going into the draft. So you put him out there, you get him on Rod Chark, Hawkinson, Swift. That's deadly, man. That is absolutely deadly. They are going to be throwing a lot too, because that defense has a lot to make up. So I love that one, man. I'm glad you.
Well, if you think about it, they're playing like the Vikings twice. The Vikings have a bad secondary. Seahawks, it's questionable whether they're going to be trying to win or not. Even so much as like, Joe, I'm sorry, but your Bears, I think you're going to be able to put some fantasy points up against the Bears.
Is Evie telling you to say that right now?
Yeah, exactly. She's over on the couch just holding up a sign. But I just think that the Lions are going to be in a lot of favorable matchups this year. I guess that's how I'll put it. They'll be in a lot of favorable matchups this year. So I think that the Lions, if they can iron out some of the flaws they had last season with the choke ability of the team, I think that this could be a good team for fantasy purposes.
I wasn't on the Lions pod with you last week, but I'm just now looking at their schedule. Wow. There could be a lot of monster fantasy games in here. That is an easy schedule.
And DJ Chark is going as 153, Joe. He's free.
Crazy.
He's a freebie. Just thrown in.
Yeah.
You don't even have to pay for him.
We saw him in 2019. Just light it up.
And he was pretty good with Trevor Lawrence last year before he got hurt, given it was only 3 games, but he wasn't not usable. So I think people forgot about him, and they're forgetting about him now. And by the end of your draft, if you end up with DJ Chark, I think he's going to return quite a bit on your investment there, and you're going to be happy with what you did. Because Amon-Ra St. Brown's getting the pub But I think DJ Chark by the end of training camp is going to be the guy that everybody's like, hey, he's still good at football. So I don't know. I'm heavy on the Lions this year. I think they're going to surprise.
Yeah, man, I'm very you're wooing me over on them pretty good. And I mean, and then you could even get TJ Hockenson in the 8th round, and that would be a triple stack.
Yeah,
that would be pretty mean right there, because I do think Hawks can have his best season yet.
So. Yeah. I mean, Jared Goff can only check it down to so many people. I mean, somebody's got to go deep at some point, and I think Chark could be that guy.
Chark is that guy. Man, I love that one. Guys, we got some really good stacks for you. Go out there if you got some that you guys like. Hit us up on Twitter. You can follow us at Offensive Points or the IDP Army. And just let us know what you're thinking. And we want to hear from you. We will be at the Expo in 2 weeks. So we're very excited about that. If you guys are going to be in Canton, please come over to the booth. We're going to have some fun stuff, some giveaways, just some general hangout time. And we're going to have some underdog drafts going on at the booth too. So come draft with us.
Yes. Come find us in Canton. We'll buy you a beer. A limited amount, but we'll buy some people beers if they come find us at some of the Canton bars.
Yeah, we're gonna get the real cheap beer, but you can have one with us.
Exactly. Hey, if somebody that's watching this right now or listening to this right now actually comes up and says, "Hey, can you buy me a beer?" I'll do it.
Sure. I'll buy you whatever beer you want, honestly.
There you go. There you go. All right, Joe.
Guys, it's been fun, and we look forward to talking to you soon. We're going to have some more of these popping up throughout the season. We're going to be getting into draft content, all that stuff. So be on the lookout. Big things coming. Good night.